do I not remember the lyrics to my own song? What the heck? In 2020, after releasing an album where I imagined that I lost my family in a house fire, in the depths of my despair, I began to write some of the most worshipful songs I have ever written in my entire life. Both some of the lowest lows and wrestling with the Lord, as well as some of the highest highs and closeness with Him. This is the story of all the songs that Adoremus has put out from 2020 until today. What's up, everybody? My name is Ben Vasko, but I do music under the name Adoremus. I own my own tile and remodeling business. I'm a father and a husband, and I love the Lord. Just sort of recap what we've talked about so far. Back in 2018, I put out an EP called Consumed, and then in 2020, I put out an album called Weaving Fire. So we're starting right basically as soon as that album came out, like not a few days later. Unfortunately, we had to have a member change. Person we brought in played bass for us, and then our guitarist / bassist moved into doing guitar full time. I was doing drums, and we basically operated as a 3-piece through, I guess it would have been 21. So basically during lockdown, I was working from home for a company up in the Detroit area. I was doing very sort of menial tasks, nothing really important. So after I would get my work done, I actually spent a decent amount of that time writing music. Now, just refresher where I was at the headspace here, I had lost my church job the second half of 2019. I'm still in that headspace. There's been like a little bit of healing, but I'm still just in the depths of that. I was writing songs during that, and then I would write songs on the piano whenever I would go to my parents for whenever I go do laundry. I would just sit down at the piano, and I would usually write something and cry. A lot of songs that we put out over the next few years were written literally like 2020, 2021 during this period of time, and they just didn't get put out until much later. The first single we put out was in 21 called Do You Love Me Regressing. We released this song in June of 21, but it was actually written in August of 2020. Funnily enough, I had full melody, so everything from like verses and chorus, and maybe even the bridge. I had completely written. I had no idea what to do as far as instrumentation, and we just got together for band practice. Guitarist and I sat down, and they just came up with the riff like right there, and the rest is sort of history. I immediately got a feeling for drums. We got the Latin groove in there, and it just sort of came together. This one really focusing on the absolute depths of my feelings of betrayal towards the Lord. Basically just being like, really just being raw and honest, like, why on earth I don't understand this situation. Feeling like I'm regressing, fading in and out of depression. I'm trying to hold some semblance of control. The next line says, the Holy Spirit escapes me, haven't felt your presence lately. Feeling alone, no signs of home. I would say during my time at the church job, I was having sort of like a resurgence in my faith. I was beginning to feel the Holy Spirit a lot more strongly, especially in discerning things. After I got let go, that all just sort of stopped. It felt like the Lord went silent for a while. I had a really tangible sense of the Holy Spirit, and then there's nothing. The Lord never leaves you, but there's definitely times when leave you alone or just allow you to sit in attention for a period of growth, and it feels extremely lonely. Thought I was doing what the Lord wanted, and I'm like, and I got let go, and I'm like, do you love me? Do you love me as much as I love you? Do you think of me as much as I think of you? I'm hanging by a string. I want your everything, but do you want me? You know, I know the answers to those questions now, but at the time, I just had to sit in it. I thought I knew what you wanted. Feels like I lost myself, if I'm being honest. Very prideful person at the time. All my identity was wrapped in what I did in my profession. And I was like, yeah, I thought I was doing what you wanted. Feels like I lost myself. Falling from grace. I mean, just a very humbling experience. Shaking my faith, yeah. Maybe it's all for the better, but it's hard to count this loss as a fetter. It's shaking my soul. I just want a home. So a fetter is, you know, like chains or something that binds. If you heard the song, like, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, it says, grace like a fetter, bind my wandering heart to thee. You know, maybe it's all for the better, but it's hard to count this loss as a fetter. Hard to see this as something that's going to bring me closer to you. It's just, I just want a home. I just want a spiritual home. And then we get to the bridge, and it's just like, say I'm not the one delusional about all the times I heard your voice. Tell me, please. Tell me, Lord, do you love me? Almost certainly there's always going to be a time in our lives where we go through some sort of strenuous faith experience where even if we've known the Lord our entire life, we're just like, is he actually there? Does he care? And I think the other members of the band were feeling it at the same time. And then we get through the chorus again, and then the last chorus expands upon the questions even more, like, do you need me as much as I need you? Do you miss me as much as I miss you? I need serenity, moment of clarity. Say you want me. Please say you want me. Say you want me. Yeah, so we released that June 21, put out a music video with it. What's happening is it's a representation of myself where I'm trying to claw myself back into a relationship with the Lord, and whether demons or just my own thoughts are holding me back, my own thoughts and doubts and actual demons preventing me from getting to where I need to. But in the end, I do get there. We recorded the song with Jake Rye, based in Adrian, Michigan. About a month later, we had the opportunity to record with Jake Rye again for 2 more singles. The first one being I Pray We'll Be Okay. My love. This one really goes deep into the relationship between my wife and I over lockdown in 2020. We're going into our various vices that get spelled out in the very, first line. My love, what happened to us? I took to a screen and you to a buzz. I mean, it's something I had struggled with a bunch, kind of throughout my life, but porn was really getting the best of me during that time, really badly. Just escaping into that. It was just a very tumultuous time. And so basically there was just a lot of friction between us at the time. And it's just like we need to, we're falling, and we need to stop ourselves from falling. It's just like, darling, I pray we'll be okay. I just want us to be okay. It's just, at the time we were very prone to very just cutting words and just a lot of difficult things to cope with, both going on in the world and relationally at the time. There were definitely moments I found myself like what I say in the verse, like, if you still love me, then please hold me so close. I think it's more hyperbole, really, but I can definitely say, like, in certain moments I've felt that now in 2026 our relationship is quite literally the best it's ever been. Been married for 9 years at this point, as opposed to only 3 at the time. This one is kind of funny how it really came about instrumentally. This one really, we from the band just jammed, and the lyrics just sort of kind of came about with it after the music was already created, which is not typical for me. We ended up releasing this in December of 2021. The next single that got released was a song called Run to You. Now, Run to You was written in the middle of lockdown 2020. That one was, I was in the depths of my despair, but somehow Lord was definitely still with me at the time. And I wrote it. Just the piece is the most worshipful song I've written at the time. And originally it was much slower and just really wasn't vibing. And then, when we were working it out together as a band, we just ended up speeding it up to the speed it is now, and it just fits so much better. And we ended up recording that one with Jake Rye in July of 21 as well. Now, the unfortunate thing is between the release of I Pray We'll Be Okay and Run to You, we ended up deciding to part ways altogether as a band for faith reasons. Just the other members were just not where I was at the time, where I was wanting to take it, and that's okay. But it ended up starting a different season for the band. And so when Run to You came out, I was the only one still remaining. I shared it with them, and the video I made with it and stuff, and we all still maintain relationship after that. Some better than others, but yeah, the content of the lyrics of Run to You is just, despite just God the Father, being a good father that He is, and especially seeing, I have 2 kids at this point, and I'm seeing them grow. Actually, no, I would have freshly had 3 kids at this point. Yeah. I was just seeing them and how their relationship with me was, and I was looking, although I guess I only had 2 at the time, but even still, just how we are in God's eyes. We are just kids who we do things to hurt ourselves, and then we go running to Him for, like the classic example: a kid hurts themselves, or we correct the kid and they start crying and they just run to us for comfort. And that's what Run to You really is. That, and it's just telling the Lord who He is as a father. I do love the chorus. Quite a lot. When the daylight comes to kiss my head, I will stand up tall and run again. To your open arms, my faithful friend. Shadows can't touch what they cannot dim. I will run to you. The video I put out with that one, Self did that one as well, actually with my brother and his sister-in-law. What's really funny is, so my wife is the oldest of 7, and between my own kids and her sisters and her mom, they all kind of look similar. So we showed the passage of a person's life and the relationship, showing the relationship with the father, searching for the father, like in the woods and despair at different times, and at the end they find the Lord, and they are running the race with others to the Father. So that got put out in May of 23. Nope, that got put out in May of 22. So I didn't really do any shows anymore at that point. Mainly it just sort of took a back seat. At that time, actually, later that year, I had started doing tile work for and getting my business started. So I was selling tile at the time, and then got to installing it on the side. About also that time, though, when I started that, I ended up recording the next single, which is Carry Me. Carry Me, I recorded with Logan Whitty, and then it was mixed and mastered by Jake Rye. He's good friends and does a lot of work with Social Recording Company. It's Jake's recording business. Everything from editing to sometimes doing engineering and running sessions. Very good instrumentalist, guitar, bass, drums. So we ended up coming together. I at the time like a demo for a song called Liar, which was about the devil, and then I had Carry Me, and he was like, yeah, you should do the Carry Me one. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. This one came in, I think we recorded it all, and we were either recorded it all in one day or we did it in like a day and a half. I can't quite remember. But yeah, I did the drums on this one, and then Logan did the bass and all the guitar work. All the keys were programmed by me beforehand. This was written by me and my old guitarist back in, I think it was the tail end of 2020, about the same time I wrote Do You Love Me Regressing. I think I originally, at this particular time, I had just a fall with just porn, and I was just absolutely devastated, and I just had an honest prayer with the Lord at the piano, and I wrote it and would cry my eyes out. How did I find myself alone, this wounded soul with broken bones? In all my running, I find that I'm prone to wander far from home. It's kind of like a prodigal story, just lamb, leaving the 99, leaving the flock, and just how the Lord seeks you out, even when you're just in the depths of you're just messing up, but He seeks you out. He finds you. You never find the Lord. You either He finds you, or you finally are able to just see that He's been with you. So I took the initial demo, brought it over to the guitarist, and we arranged it for essentially acoustic guitar and vocals, which that demo ended up, talk about that later, but ended up getting put out as well. But yeah, of course, it's Still You Search Me, a life but unworthy. You leave the 99 to find this weary soul. All my strength is failing, but your grace is prevailing. You lift me up and put me on your shoulders, and you carry me home. It's just like the lost lamb. It just carries me home. Jesus, I'm crying out. Jesus, my heart is crying out. I have no strength to move. I know not how. Through all my failings, I'm left with no doubt that you're the one I cannot live without. He finds me, but now He's found me. I will rest in your sanctuary. I'll lift my eyes to you, because you hold my heart forever, and I don't want to go. I never want to leave the Lord again. I betray Him on such a regular basis, but I never want to leave Him again, no matter what. And then I ended up putting that song out in December of 22. And then something actually I want to go into depth with is actually the cover art of that. Is the idea behind it is Jesus going into all circumstances, on any place, to find us and bring us back. That following May, I had the opportunity to record with Logan again, and then Jake mixed and mastered it. It's a song called Fool. I'm just a fool. I'm just a fool to think my plans are better than yours. I'm just a fool to think my plans are better than yours. Fool was written, I think, tail end of 2021. You hear that? Or it's like early 22. I can't quite remember. Or at least was started then. Basically, the song is kind of going into, I've been doing music for forever, and why is nothing happening? Well, I can tell you why nothing's happening. It's because I keep trying to do everything my way. I'm such a fool to think my plans are better than yours. Give me a sign, give me a song. Yeah, I'm just looking at my own, just like, I'm so stupid. Sometimes. It's like, I try to play God. I try to maneuver stuff to, if I do this one thing, then the Lord's going to reward me with this. No, it's not. It's not how that works. I mean, it definitely had that sort of, like, upbeat vibe. But what's funny is the bridge, actually, which is, I think, just goes absolutely so hard. As I wrote it about, like, a week before I came into the studio. Logan heard it. He's just like, okay. And then... So we track it. I'm just going crazy on drums, and he just leans into it and just becomes like the most like Very inspired by like Amberlin's Vital record, Intentions, or as well as Self-Starter. All the king's horses and all the king's men can help me, but I know you can. Mice and men, their best laid plans can't help me, but I know you can. So it's a song of surrender. Just like, I'm dumb, just help me, please. And it's just still a lot of fun. The video I put out for it, I'm just dancing like a fool. That's the entire, just like, kill my pride. And at the end, actually, that was written in the studio. Logan had written like a guitar part for it. I'm like, oh wait, hold on, I have a line for this. Help me die to myself. It's beautiful, beautiful litany of humility. Just help me die to myself. Kill my pride. My plans are so terrible. Direct my steps. Put that out August of 23. Now, I didn't put a song out again until November of 24. And that song was called Zealous.
Give me discernment to know when you're speaking, and give me the wisdom.
Zealous actually came about, it would have been fall of 21. It was when I wrote it. It had been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. Really how it came about was I was asked to lead a high school youth group at our church. I did it. One of the meetings, no one showed up. I mean, we had low attendance to begin with, but then no one showed up to that one. It was extremely disheartening. So the other person helped me out, left, and I was just left in the room by myself. And I just wrote this prayer, which is the first verse. Give me discernment to know when you're speaking, and give me the wisdom to know what you're saying. Give me forgiveness when I fail to listen, and give me your strength when I'm on your mission. Teach me the grace to love all your children, and give me restraint when I let my pride in. Make me a vessel of your love outpoured. You are jealous of my heart. Let my heart be zealous for yours. I think I made some slight adjustments to arrive at those words, but that was it. Yeah, so defeated at the time, and I'm also just for like, I felt like the kids knew more about the Lord than I did, and I'm supposed to be teaching them to grow closer to the Lord. It didn't make any sense, but maybe I was just maneuvered into that situation to be able to write that, or it was just maneuvered based on my own choices, accepting it. Basically, I took it. Can't steer a parked bus, so I need to start moving towards the Lord somehow. It ended up working. Got me going again. The second verse came about, actually, I was at work. I had just started that tile sales job, and randomly my boss and I got talking about God, and she was talking about her tumultuous relationship at the time. Like, she had lost her grandparents who basically raised her, and she felt angry about that, which inspired the second verse. Cradle our souls when living is painful. Soften our hearts when we feel disdainful. Help us to trust you through all of our wandering. Remind us the answers when we do our pondering. Help us to stand in front of your steeple. Rejoin the choirs of angels and people. Help us return right back to you, Lord. You are jealous for our hearts. Let our hearts be zealous for yours. And just the third one is just the most, just like, I tried to just encapsulate everything. We're undeserving of what we are given, but even for one soul, you do it all again. That line actually is inspired by personal revelation of my wife. She was a kid alone in the Adoration Chapel for like a Catholic summer camp, and she heard the Lord say to her, like, even if you were the only person, I would die for you. You love all the broken, the saints and disgraceful. Though we betray you, you're forever faithful. Let us become more like our Father, the Spirit and Son, all sons and daughters. Help us to love more like you, Lord. You are jealous for our hearts. Let our hearts be zealous for yours. You are jealous for my heart. Let my heart be zealous for yours. It's just yeah, it's just such an honest prayer. Well, actually, what's funny is this one I actually tracked myself, produced myself, mastered by Jake Rye. Funnily enough, I had to get it out because my wife wanted to use it for a song for, we do. You might have heard of Christ Renews His Parish Chirp. It has since become Welcome, and my wife and I got very involved with that at our parish, and she was doing a talk for her weekend that she was helping lead, and she wanted to use that song for it. Put that out in November of 24 so she could use it. The next year, 2025, was actually something pretty sweet. My brother-in-law, Justin, who does music under the name JTSK, he actually attended the Welcome Retreat that February for the men's, and he was very moved by it. We were both very moved by it. There was a time where the priest actually was inviting the Holy Spirit into the space, and he was just like, there was something that each one of us the Holy Spirit was wanting us to say. And one of the things that was said was like the words, slow down, I see you, all in due time, was some of the words coming out of some of our mouths all in a row. And it shook me to my core, and it shook Justin to his core. And we decided to write a song about it. We had written a couple songs together before then. He's put out 2 songs, Into the War and Perfect Time. But then we teamed up and we did one, both Adoremus and JTSK, called All in Due Time. Jake Rye did the full gambit on this one, produced, mixed, mastered. Basically, the first verse was essentially from his point of view, Justin's point of view, of just the Lord speaking through the weekend, what he said to him. And my verse is about what the Lord said to me. And then the bridge on is just a culmination of both what's going on, me just providing for me and my family, and Justin like coming back into the faith. And so yeah, we put out the song All in Due Time that June of 2025. The following month in July, I put out a song called Mentor. This song I recorded, and I recorded everything myself, and then Jake came in and mastered and did some other tweaks on the track too to kind of fix some of my mistakes. This one was about a late friend of mine, Connie Peebles. She was originally my 8th grade prep teacher and then youth group leader in 8th grade freshman year of high school. Very big impact on my faith journey. She tragically died of brain cancer in 2019, and so I was actually the song is back from 2019. After her funeral and everything, I recounted just the funeral and the difference she made in my life. And I had to, I knew she was in a lot of pain, but I felt like I needed to write it or to get it recorded and everything. So I ended up releasing it on the anniversary of her passing in July. And her husband Troy and I are still really good friends to this day, and we do, we help with a diocesan movement called Curcio, and we help other men become leaders in their Christian communities and help evangelize, be the light of Christ in other people's lives. And then fall of last year in 25, I had lost a friend who was previously the guitarist in the band. We wrote Carry Me together. Lost the battle to mental illness and ended up committing suicide. Just sort of in remembrance, we had always talked about putting out the original demo of Carry Me, and so, you know, after that happened, I put out the demo for that. So that's the last thing I've released since then. Thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around and listening to me talk about all these songs that I put out. You know, that's it's now, as of recording this video, is now June of 2026, and I haven't released anything, but you're probably wondering, you know, what's next for Adoremus? Well,
Who am I to come before you?